Hey everybody, welcome back to the Court of Random Opinion. My name is Lauren Neidigh. This is going to be a really quick stream with an update from this afternoon on the Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni case. In fact, it's going to be so quick that none of you might see it until I'm done. So this was not a planned stream, but thank you to the person who tagged me in this news update on Twitter so that I could bring this to you guys. I'm going to go ahead and share the screen and get right into it. Okay. So this actor, his name is Adam Mondschein, and I hope I said his last name right, but I'm not sure, has been mentioned at least a few times now in the legal documents. He was hired to play the OBGYN in It Ends With Us, and he's come out and spoken about his experience with Blake, saying that she mischaracterized it. So I'm going to skim over this with you guys really quick, just to see what he had to say. We'll do a quick refresher of what was said about him in the complaint, and then I'll get back to work. So, here's what Adam had to say to Page 6, who got the exclusive on this. I'm not going to speculate as to Miss Lively's motivations for mentioning me in the complaint. Needless to say, my experience working with her is very different than the one she described in her lawsuit. Mondschein, who played Dr. Dunbar in the popular 2024 film, exclusively tells Page 6. Instead, I was surprised to read her description of the scene. Okay. Lively alleged in her initial complaint and the amended version, both of which Page 6 obtained, okay, cool, so did the rest of the public, that she was disturbed by many of Baldoni's actions on set, including new scenes he chose to have in the film, such as violative birthing scenes for which he cast a friend as her OBGYN. She also claimed in the suit that the It Ends With Us director introduced his best friend to play the role of the OBGYN, when ordinarily a small role of this nature would be filled by a local actor. Okay, but didn't her sister also get kind of preferential treatment and had a little small role in that? Okay, Miss Lively felt the selection of Mr. Baldoni's friend for this intimate role, in which the actor's face and hands were in close proximity to her nearly nude genitalia for a birth scene, was invasive and humiliating. And as we know, she was not nearly nude. It's been, talked about at length, but we'll talk about it again in just a second. All right. He maintains that everything that occurred when they filmed was above board. In response to her claim that she was nearly nude, he alleges her costume included a full hospital gown, black shorts, and torso-covering prosthetic to make her appear pregnant, in addition to whatever personal garments she chose. Wow. Okay, and apparently she never complained or expressed discomfort at any point because nothing unusual or improper occurred. It was entirely professional. All right, and they're talking about his credentials a little bit, I think. Hold on. Yeah. Lastly, I was in fact a local hire. My wife and I are from New York and spend significant time there. As such, I, like any actor accepting the contract, was required to cover my own travel and living expenses in connection to the job. Lively's insinuations regarding my qualifications are offensive, as my bona fides are easily searchable online. Lively's rep declined to comment. All right. And there's just talking about some of her other claims there. And they're still saying, I guess, or they're just pointing back to her complaint that says exactly the opposite of what he just told us. Okay. Adam adds that should Baldoni's lawyers call him to the witness stand in the upcoming trial, he is willing to do so. If I'm called to testify, I will answer truthfully and more freely, whatever is asked of me with all the legal protection that affords. In particular, wow, Lauren, particular, that's not a word, by noting that Miss Lively was not nearly nude in the scene we shot together. Mondschein is not the first person to try and poke holes in Lively's lawsuit. Okay. All right, and I'll link to this article in the comments of this video when I'm done as well. Really quickly, so this was Blake's amended complaint where he's mentioned, let's see. They did just kind of outline this one in this Page 6 article, so let's just look at what he had to say in his response to her motion to dismiss, where they also mentioned him. Says, Lively falsely claimed that she was forced to be nearly naked during the filming of a birthing scene, when in fact she was wearing black briefs, a hospital gown, and a pregnancy suit, and only her legs showed. And then here they're citing the parts of her complaint where that guy is mentioned. Lively falsely claimed that Wayfarer hired a random friend of Baldoni's to play the gynecologist when in fact the actor is a Shakespearean trained professional with an MFA in acting from UCLA. Yeah. So, and then we read this last week, guys. This is just his response to her motion to dismiss, which is like they're outlining all the ways that she misrepresented things here. So, yeah, that's about the size of it. Like I said, this is going to be a really quick update. We are waiting for a couple more filings this week, but they're due tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, respectively. So I'll keep my eye out for that. I'll do a double check for you right now because I haven't looked this afternoon. Hang on. Make sure nothing's come up. Like I said earlier, there were some filings that came out early this morning, but they were just the notice of appearances for the Jones and Jonesworks attorneys. Yeah, so that's what these last two were, 164, 165, because Jones has to respond by, I think, next week. I think the response is due, let's see, Monday, maybe? It's 4/14. Yeah, Monday. And that's where they made counterclaims against her, including Abel's claim of false imprisonment or whichever it was. So, yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody, for popping in. Hey, Kai, how you doing? They also read that Blake is kind of an airhead, not that bright. Oh, man. Just Ricardo, thank you for the 2. Hello, lovelies. This bitch lying some more. No, same lie, just now somebody else stepping up to say, hey, that's not what happened. So, yeah. Okay, guys. I'm not sure if I'll be streaming tonight or tomorrow next, but I will let you know very soon on the post tab on my YouTube page and on my X account. So, thanks, everyone, for popping in for these few minutes that we were on. But I have to get back to work now because I'm still on the clock, and I don't want to waste my break time just in case, something else happens. So, bye.